This here is in northern Oklahoma at the Cowboy Cemetery. On September 12th, 1878, the bodies of Reuben Bristow and Fred Clark were found near here. It was believed they had been killed by Northern Cheyenne Indians led by Chief Dullknife. Bristow and Clark were cowboys hauling salt for Comanche Pull cattle when Dullknife fled harsh conditions on the reservation near Canton. The salt haulers, probably killed for their meal team, inadvertently crossed the path of the Cheyenne during their desperate flight home to the northern plains. That's the original marker that was placed here. Cowboys and salt haul killed by Indians. That's the original marker. And so this was the area. They came from that direction. They were mainly traveling at night, and they would go into this direction towards Dodge City. Just beyond Dodge City is where they would get into a skirmish south of Oberlin at the Battle Cave, Punish Woman's Fork. And just north of Oberlin is where they would be captured and taken to Fort Robinson, Nebraska. They traveled through this area mainly at night, being undetected. And of course, there wasn't many living out in this part of the plains of Oklahoma in this area. They came from this direction over that hillside over there. But they knew this country, and it was in 1878 they were making their way back home. Dullknife and Little Wolf. Dullknife would be in his Dullknife, and the part that went with Dullknife would be taken to Red Cloud Agency from Fort Robinson, Nebraska. Little Wolf and his group would continue north and surrender to Lieutenant Casey, I believe it was, and be taken to Miles City, Montana. There in Miles City, Montana is where Chief Two Moons was with the group of Cheyennes. The Cheyennes from Miles City would eventually agree to be scouts for the cavalry to go and pursue and capture Chief Joseph and the Nez-Perce, and they volunteered to be scouts for the cavalry, or was given the opportunity to be scouts in order to get the Tongue River Reservation today. One of the men that was on this journey of the Northern Cheyenne would later be named Eugene Standing Elk. He was the son of one of the great principal chiefs of all Cheyenne, Standing Elk. Eugene Standing Elk would, by grace, experience the new birth and become a preacher and also a Bible translator for the Cheyenne tribe through the efforts of Rodolphe Petter. Around the 1903, 1904, there was a great gospel awakening that began to occur in Montana, around Lodgegrass, Montana, where several principal Crow chief leaders, as well as Northern Cheyenne chief and tribal leaders, would experience the spiritual transformation of the new birth. And they would join Baptist and Mennonite missions and be involved in evangelism, missionary work, and Bible translation work for the Cheyenne. Near Cantonment, Oklahoma, is where a lot of the Rodolphe Petter is where he originally started his mission work in the early part of the 20th century. I don't remember if it was 1900 or 1909 or earlier, but it was there in the early part of the 20th century, and he came from Germany as a Mennonite and would see a number of principal Cheyenne chiefs come to experience the spiritual transformation of the new birth. So this was a significant area for the Northern Cheyenne, coming through this area in 1878, from breaking out of the reservation around Cantonment, Oklahoma, Fort Reno, and making their walk north through this area and continuing all the way north through Kansas and eventually into Nebraska, and a part of them continuing to Montana. This was also the area that was well known to not only the Cheyenne but the Comanche Kiowa. Chief Santanta of the Kiowa would have known this area, as Medicine Lodge, Kansas is just a short distance in that direction north. A lot of the southern Arapaho. This was the popular hunting area for the buffalo in the 1860s, and prior to the 1860s, millions of buffalo were in this area. Of course, by 1878, the large herds were already killed out. So this is the path area where the Northern Cheyenne made their trek north, going home. And coming through this part, these were the first people that the Northern Cheyenne killed from their outbreak of around Fort Reno, Cantonment, Oklahoma, which is just south of here, a ways, a distance. So this was the first ones that they killed before arriving towards Oberlin. Of course, they had a lot of skirmishes there with the settlers and killing settlers there in that area of Oberlin, Kansas. They were on foot through here until they was getting horses and ammunition. They would travel at night, men, women, elderly, and children. It was there at Punish Woman's Fork at Battle Cave where they would have their horses. They'd make an escape from the cave as the cavalry came in and surrounded them and killed their horses. And they got into a heavy gun battle there at Battle Cave, Punish Woman's Fork, just south of Oberlin, Kansas.